Most developers use UV like that phone you give to grandma for texting and calling. You see, if you install UV, run UV pip install and give it a day, you are missing on many game-changing features. I'm about to show you 5 UV tricks that change how I work with Python. They are not random tricks, but techniques I use successfully in many production Python projects. So grab your coffee, open your terminal, and let's turn you into the UV expert your team desperately needs. Let's go! The first feature is running portable scripts. One of the cool Python features is that you can run the same script on different machines that might run different OS and expect the same results. It's because Python is a scripting language, with the execution abstracted in runtimes that are installed into each computer. But there is still a bit of friction when you share a script before somebody can run it. You have to install the dependencies. With UV, you can define your dependencies at the top of the script, and anybody with UV installed can run your script this way: UV run script.py. The cool thing is that UV will automatically fetch the dependencies and run the script, making your script entirely portable. You don't need to install anything, and people can run them directly. The second trick is compiling Python scripts to bytecode. So before a script is executed by the runtime, it has to be compiled to some intermediary representation called bytecode. Now, with UV you can pre-compile your files into bytecode, so you gain time when you first run the script. Doing so, you reduce the call start of your script, which is the time needed by the runtime to first prepare your script before running it. The third trick is optimize Docker images. Here's an example. We start from Python and then we install UV by copying from another image from GHCR, which is a container registry. So it's super easy to get UV and UVX. Now, in a single command, we sync all the dependencies. Since UV is super fast, it reduces the build time. Then we also compile to bytecode. Super useful because now the code is ready to run super fast, reducing the call start of your Docker image. In the second stage, we load a smaller Python image, so Python Alpine. In this image, we copy the environment of UV, so the optimized build we just made. Then we can run our command. Here it's a fast API server, so running the server. Doing so, you first build your project super fast, prepare the code by compiling it to bytecode to reduce the call start, and finally you copy just what you need to run it in a smaller image, here Python Alpine, and get a super fast Docker that will have a small call start. So next time you need to build a Docker image for Python, remember UV because it will decrease the build time thanks to the super fast dependency resolver, and also prepare code with compilation so it will be fast to run and reduce the call start. The fourth feature is pre-commit hooks. Pre-commit hooks are hooks that you run before you git commit, and they enforce usually quality check, let's say styles of your code, so you avoid pushing code that is not to the highest standard to your repository. Now, UV gives you multiple hooks that you can use to improve the quality of your code. The first one is synchronizing with the lock. So every time you will change the dependency, this hook will make sure that the lock is up to date. Then you have another hook that will help you keep your requirement file, if you are using that, in sync with your UV lock. And then you have another one to make sure you compile your dependencies every time you commit before you push to your repository. And the last trick is GitHub Actions and GitHub Actions caching. So GitHub Actions are similar to pre-commit hooks, but they run on GitHub server and allows you to protect your code base and run different actions based on the code that you are pushing to the server. The first one is set up UV and install Python. So here simply we use the Astral SH setup that will just install UV in your GitHub Actions and synchronize your Python versions with the Python version of the GitHub Action. Pretty useful to run in a consistent environment. The second one is syncing and running. So after setuping UV, you can install all your dependencies and run, let's say, the tests, for instance. So this one is also useful because you can enforce code quality by enforcing that the test pass before, let's say, you merge a pull request. And the last and pretty useful one here is caching dependencies. So using this simple GitHub action, you can cache UV dependencies, so you can reuse them in between runs. Super useful because it decreases significantly the time you spend on each GitHub actions. So here you have it, 5 tricks to turn you into a UV expert. If you have other tricks, share them in the comments, I'm interested. See you in the next one.